Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beaver Politics. Tonight, we're going to be doing Truth Through Discourse, where we have an open panel of people with the same ideologies talking about the issues in our country, other countries, and around the world. Welcome.
Good evening.
Panelists, do you want to say hello? Give us, how are you guys doing?
I am doing excellent. I just got off work and I noticed you were live, so I figured I'd join in.
Nice, welcome.
We're always glad to have everybody on board here because at the end of the day, Beaver Politics is for the people and by the peoples.
So I have so much going on in my mind today. First, I'd like to ask you guys.
Hold on, you sound a little muffled.
If everybody could turn
Much
off
better.
their mics, because it's really hard to hear with the background noise. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit today was what the heck is Pierre Poilievre going to do when Mark Carney is canceling the carbon tax, right? And, you know, like, what else does Pierre Poilievre have if there's no acts of tax?
Populist ideology, YT supremacy. It doesn't matter, though. I mean, look at what's happening in the States right now, right? All these supporters of the Orange Cheeto Man, they are realizing that he's not going to give them what he promised, and yet they are still supporting him because they just keep moving the goalpost. Look at the bigger picture. It's okay. It'll come. This will be the best.
Canada has a front row seat right now. That's the one gift Trudeau gave us by proroguing the government, was giving us an opportunity to see right in front of our eyes the play out. And what a gift, because we're watching Ontario's numbers in the Liberal Party rise fast and furiously.
I want to see Doug Ford get voted out in the provincial election, though, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But I want it to happen, but I don't know if it's going to happen because the polls for the provincial election don't really look as promising. Angela, if you want to talk, I muted everybody while Miss Radical was talking. So when you guys want to talk, you got to press your mic button.
So I live in Ontario, so this is scary times. Because he did this election in February, snapped the election, knowing he was going to throw all the parties off because they have to find candidates. And it doesn't give enough time because he announced it January the 29th, and it's the day the voting is on the 27th of February. How fair is that? And then on top of it, he's making all these promises. You had a majority government. Why didn't you make these promises when you were before you dissolved why didn't you make those promises? Why are you making these promises now?
I actually have a theory on that, and it goes along these lines. What I think is happening with Doug Ford in Ontario is, yes, Angela, I think those are absolutely part of his concerns as far as timing, but I also think he's riding this little bit of a popularity wave that he has going on with his anti-Trump stance. And I think that has a lot to do with it, with the voter apathy that we've seen in Ontario. If he's got even a slight edge, I think that's what he's using to his advantage right now.
But it's going advance. That advantage is going against him because he's not going to cancel the contract. And then there came out this thing about a Washington contract or something. And some information that just got, you know about that one? Some kind of, I was just glancing at it today. And something, he's making deals still with the United States. I'm trying to find it right now. He's still making dealings.
Yeah, I mean, Doug Ford will do whatever's good for Doug Ford.
He's no different than, you know. So it's pretty scary.
I mean, yeah. God, come on, Ontario, please
Because
go vote.
the thing is, can we imagine my situation? So I've been advocating for a long time when it comes to disabilities, and I have a son who's has a developmental disability. He's autistic. He's an adult, and so he's in a group home now. I don't like saying that word group home, but he's in one. So for me, I'm thinking about those most vulnerable people right now. That's what I'm thinking about. Because he's done nothing since 2018. What's he going to do if he gets into the majority government?
When I looked at the polls and what they were saying that the consensus is that a lot of people in Ontario just don't feel like they know the other leaders that well. And because of familiarity and because at least they know what they're going to get with Dougie, they're just going to keep voting for him because the other ones haven't had the time to be able to, provide more information on themselves and gain trust and gain popularity.
That's true, because he deliberately did that in February, knowing it's the shortest month, given only a month, right? And but the thing is, you should contact the main office. Like, you can't contact the campaign office of each leader, right? So the Liberal, the NDP, the Green Party, contact the main office, ask them questions, look at their platforms, and understand you're going to see, you may not have your candidate right now, but there's different options you have available. So don't give up on a party just because you don't see a candidate running in that riding. Because they're out there on TV. There's no debates yet, right? So no one's actually heard them debate yet. But I'm really disappointed. I can leave the province, right? But my son can't.
Yeah.
And that's for everyone else out there. So scary times.
Indeed. That's why I feel like people in Ontario, if you're passionate about this, you got to do some on the grounds campaigning. Talk to people, talk to your neighbors, your friends, your strangers, whatever it is, Figure out which party you want to vote for and do some campaigning. Walk through neighborhoods, call people, do something, please.
Exactly.
Yeah. I saw something that the Liberal Party in Ontario was trying to work, and they want to raise ODSP, which I think is great. I think it's about freaking time. But how are they going to do that with Doug Ford in control? That's my only thing.
They're not going to do it with Doug Ford in control.
That's where I'm having the issue, right? Like, it sounds all great and everything. And Marco, to be honest, it was not Trump. It was Trudeau that brought Canadians together, and the deal was already done. Um, in December of 2024 with Biden and Harris. So that deal that we gave Trump was a checkmate for us.
Yep. When nobody's talking, you guys can just chime in. I'll only really get strict on moderating when I see that people are talking over each other. But apart from that, you're good.
So I just want to share that one thing that stood out clearly to me with Trump is that what he also is saying that is his American border agents cannot manage their own borders because it's their borders, right? Why can't they manage their own borders?
Well, I mean, we know what this is. This has nothing to do with the border, right? This is about creating his own narrative to come out like the champion.
Yeah.
It's what he does all the time. It's what he does with everything. So
So remember,
I don't know. Go ahead.
Remember The Handmaid's Tale? This is about the time where the borders started to be manned by drones, right?
Yeah.
This is that exact time in that storyline. Next is the women start losing their bank accounts. They get fired from their jobs, and it
Their
rolls
bank
into
accounts were frozen. Yeah.
yeah.
I literally just watched a clip from that. I'm sorry to cut you off, Miss Radical, but
That's okay. I've been posting clips of it all day because I'm just so shocked that nobody
and
can
believe it or
see.
not, that movie was filmed. The entire series of that film was here in Toronto, was in Ontario. That's the shocking part.
Yeah. I can't believe people don't want to watch it. Like they're so scared to know.
I tried. It physically made me sick to my stomach,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna try again. Hopefully, I can make it through because I stopped at like season 3 or season
It's
1,
intense.
episode 3.
It's honestly, Smarsh, I got sick as well. It was something I couldn't believe was even allowed to be filmed. You know, I was just like appalled by it. But at the same time, it's to me, it's like a map in a way. Like if you know what's coming and how people are thinking, then maybe you can adjust, realign. I don't know, but
Right.
to me, it's like I can see it coming. I need to know what's next.
They were talking about Handmaid's Tale for
Handmaid's
Treaty
Tale.
6 asked. I mean, there's a lot of good shows that can, give you some sort of an idea of what could potentially happen. A lot of people have been thinking about this for years and years and years. Yeah.
Hey, can I chime in? This is a
Of
little
course,
side.
you're on the panel.
It's
Please
a
do.
little bit of a side note, but it's so funny because I've been thinking a lot about like if where we're going environmentally and how like the lands have been altered and the landscape is changing so much and there's less and less trees. Do you remember the Jetsons? I
Yes.
was thinking about this like probably a year ago. Were they conditioning us as kids to
Yes.
right,
Yes.
to get to think about that, like to be used to seeing a place with no trees, because I remember like
Yeah.
it's all just
You want to
buildings
think
and
about something really weird? George
Oh,
yes,
Jetson technically would be 3 years old today.
What?
Yeah, I seen
right.
an ad pop up on my TikTok, and it said allegedly the
Yeah.
Jetsons took part, like it started in 2020. I think it's
Right.
2020, so actually be 5 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
So
You
let that
know,
sink in.
it's really interesting that you brought that up, Treaty Bird, because I was in a live this morning at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I was amazed at the stupidity level that these people were talking, and they're like, "Do you know about globalization or not that, but like, do you know about this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm well aware of climate change. I'm well aware of how to fix it. How are you guys gonna fix it?" And they're like, "Well, what do you want to do to fix it?" I'm like, "It's not up to me to fix it. It's up to you guys to fix it." And I'm sitting there and I want to say something so bad. And my head was like, don't say it. Don't say it because you're going to get yourself into trouble. Because this young lady who is of the pasty pirate collect, um, whatever, who is a non melanated person, came up and was, "What do you know about climate change? That it's bad? Well, what do you know how to change it?" I'm like, "I know how we need to change it. If I tell you how to change it, it's going to start an argument." "No, it won't." So I said, "Well, land that. Well, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to move back to Europe?" I said, and again, there's the argument. I did not want. So I'm like, "Thank you guys. I appreciate." They're all arguing with each other. And I dipped out because I'm like, this is what we need to do to eliminate climate change and to reverse the damage that has been done to Earth. But y'all don't want to listen to me because I said 2 words that you have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about that. And that is so frustrating. And they're all American. They want to know a Canadian's perspective. I gave them the perspective of a Canadian person who happens to be an Indigenous person. I said land back, and they all flew off the handle. And you can't say that. And, okay, well then don't ask me my opinion.
A lot of people don't care about climate change until they're directly affected And I find even that's like, it's like a commercial break.
But if I were to ask you how to cook banana bread properly, and you gave me the instructions and said, "Okay, here's how you cook banana bread properly. This is what you need to do," and I said, and I got mad at you, would you not want to help me anymore?
But
Right?
but you believe in banana bread. These people don't
I
believe in
believe
climate change.
That's
I
true.
know I know that, but like it's the simple fact of if you're going to ask me for my information and my voice, and you're going to ask me my opinion on how we change things, don't jump down my throat when I say land back.
Yeah.
That's not helpful to you guys.
I feel like they're programmed to just argue. Like if you said the sky is blue, they're going to have another argument for whatever it is. Like it's just a
Today,
constant divide.
like today I held a live. Someone told me to go back to Lebanon.
I saw that. I saw that video you did with the community violations and the things the messages they were sending you. Horrible.
That's not even half of them. Those are just the PG version ones I can send. I can't send all of them. I wish I could, but I can't.
Well, I could make out some of those words, and I knew exactly what they meant in Arabic, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
They should have been community violations.
Oh, he blocked me after I laughed 3 more times.
Yeah.
But again, when we're dealing, I'm constantly talking about understanding the population demographics of what we're dealing with. And we have to understand that for them to align themselves with Dump, someone who basically speaks at a grade 5 vocabulary level,
I wouldn't give him that much credit.
so what we have to understand is that these are simple answers for simple minds. The complexities of running a government, of international relationships, of trade agreements, of how business actually works behind the scenes, these are things that are so far above and beyond a lot of these people's capability to understand. And yet, because they vote and because they have social media, their opinion and voice is now as valid as someone who has intimate knowledge of all of those subjects.
Right. Oh God, I can't. Someone in the comments made a comment that I agree with, but I disagree with at the same time. They're like,
But
well, our ancestors unalive for you to fight for this country. So did mine and Treaty Bird's ancestors. We fought the Métis Nation Red River Rebellion. And, like, it. Oh, God, I can't. I can't with people today. I'm just going to stay quiet and drink my coffee.
Fair.
Can we, Kingston 1341, you haven't had a chance to talk. Did you want to chime in on here?
Kingston, you have to unmute yourself to say hello.
They may need help unmuting.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
I can hear. I just want to say that I've been very busy within Alberta because I feel Alberta is the center of the Canadian pro-Trump fascism. So I've been just trying to keep a lot of fellow Albertians updated of the news about what's happening in Alberta to remind them we have a fascist regime and keep them aware. So unfortunately, I've been more focusing Alberta recently. And
that's okay. What can you share? Can you share some of the things that you've been telling other Albertans and let us know more about what's happening in Alberta?
Well, recently the main thing is the healthcare, because she's changing and rechanging and reshaping healthcare, and the other one is insurance. Auto insurance sounds petty, but it's not. I'm warning them that it will change the ability of people to sue for damages and so forth. Basically, the government is going to dictate to them what they got, whether they like it or not. And I'm trying to also study it to find more information on it, what they exactly will do. And the healthcare, those two right now are the major ones. And I'm also trying to keep up with what's going to happen with the court case of transgender community, whether they will win or not, and how will she react. She had already threatened she would use notwithstanding clause. And I watch her interviews as much as I can. I think there was one on nationally, and she just kisses Donald Trump's butt. And she is definitely a obsequious sycophant for Donald Trump. So those are the main things. Also, I see a lot of patriotism across the board, including Albertians. And there is a movement that we are wondering if we should get closer to Europe, which I'm not against it. European politicians, several of them have said that Canada should join European community. It's a choice. I'm not pushing anybody, but I think I'm going to tell you what I think. I think we need to distance ourselves from US.
I think a lot of us here would agree.
We need to distance, and I am sorry if anybody feels they're our greatest friends. And I made that comment when Danielle Smith said that they have given us a special privilege of special friendship, and I reacted that baloney. They can keep their special privilege and shove it up where the sun doesn't shine. I don't want it.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm trying to promote it amongst Albertians. We don't want it. I believe I signed that petition that
Yeah.
I want her to resign or step down. I won't apologize for that. I think it's a great idea. But can I say one other thing that I am being aware of and keeping track? At the border, they're treating Canadians who want to travel south of the border really badly. And I have accumulated several stories of how badly they have been treated. I am actually hoping that one morning Donald Trump will wake up and decide that from now on, all the Canadian visitors must apply for a visa at the U.S. Embassy, and I will actually applaud that, saying, great, we don't need to come there, make it more difficult for us.
I
Smarshy.
actually had plans to fly to Vegas later on this year, but with the downfall of the aviation industry over the last 2 weeks, I'd honestly be terrified to fly anywhere over the United States. Like the fact that there's been 4 air accidents and 2 on the ground, 2 in the air is something that's really been scaring me. Like, like that's something that wouldn't happen in, like 10 years over a country. But, the fact that it's happened in less than 2 weeks is getting kind of scary.
Just
Yeah.
to bring
I was just going
a
to say
happy
Smarshy.
note, just to bring a happy note to this, there was a person who works at the border, and she made a joke about hockey sticks and googly eyes. So now at every port of the Canadian border entrance, there is exactly 3 hockey sticks, and each of them have googly eyes on them, and it's all around the Canadian border. I just think that is so silly, but we need that laugh when we're talking about serious issues, because we shouldn't be serious all the time when we are facing our, like, not, I don't want to say we're facing the end of the world, but we are at the end of the world, kind of. So it breaks my heart that we have to put hockey sticks with googly eyes to remind ourselves that it's okay to laugh. It's okay to be silly in times of what we're going through. But I just thought that was the cutest thing. It came up on my feed this morning, and I couldn't stop laughing. I
That's
thought it was cute.
adorable.
That is.
Can are you done, Smarsh? Okay. I just want to add to what Kingston was saying. We just saw a video that Nenshi made that he wants to have Smith arrested. So Perry has it ready here to play so you guys can listen to it. You want to listen to it?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been watching politics for a long time. These are amongst the most shocking allegations that I have ever seen. Danielle Smith's government fired the AHS CEO and then fired the board. She's now on her Fifth AHS CEO in the short time she's been premier. She's fired the board twice. We already knew that they didn't know how to manage healthcare. But what this report alleges goes much, much further. The report alleges that this firing happened after the CEO and the board of AHS started to look into the legality around contracts for private surgeries that could enrich companies that had very, very strong ties to the UCP government and staff. They did all of this with your tax dollars. The allegations say that the CEO was pressured into signing contracts way above market value with these companies. The board was so concerned about this that they suggested that the CEO take the information to the RCMP for a criminal investigation. The CEO was fired 2 days before a meeting with the Auditor General to talk about what was going on. So this is what I'm calling for today. The leader of His Majesty's Loyal Opposition, Christina Gray, will be writing to ask for 3 investigations by the RCMP, by the Auditor General, and by the Ethics Commissioner. And I am calling for a judicial-led public inquiry into this matter. At the same time, it's very clear to me that the Premier, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Mental Health and Addiction, all named employees in these allegations must step aside. They cannot operate in this role while they are under the shadow of potential RCMP criminal investigation until this work is done. Now listen, that is a lot for me to say. It's not normally the kinds of thing that I would jump to. I'm not a very hot-headed guy. But I truly believe that while these investigations are going on, we must rebuild the confidence of Albertans in this government. Albertans have never tolerated this kind of action from a government. This is much too big to sweep under the rug. We need to hear from the Premier on this today. Let me be clear.
Woohoo!
That was good.
Right? Well, good move, Nancy.
Well, it's about time.
I'm in Alberta too, so we need this. We need somebody to speak out.
Absolutely right. I was like,
Did that not feel like we were watching American politics?
Yep. Yeah, shit's getting real here.
It did, right? Like it. I was watching that the whole time, and I'm like, this feels like U.S. politics right now. This is nuts.
If you lived in Alberta, you would feel like you're in the U.S.
Oh,
That's how I felt.
well, it is Alberta. Come on.
yeah, we are the Texas. We are the Texas of the North, everybody. I mean, come on, and the bird of Bama. Like, you can't get any more U.S. than that.
As close to American as you can get in Canada.
Oh, they want to emulate it fully.
But why are we at all surprised that criminals are criminaling?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we have to realize that the left-wing political party is going to, the people that want to dismantle law and dismantle government probably want to get rid of it because they don't want the government and the courts looking into what they do. So obviously they're going to side with the left, and then we on the right seem to constantly be surprised when they get caught doing illegal things or trying to push the Constitution or trying to push people's rights. All of the people that subscribe to that type of ideology are on the left. And as soon as they get into power, they are pushing that ideology, including Danielle Smith. I mean, what other leader in the free world had to have the American military call her and tell her, no, we're not spraying your province with our secret military jets?
Mm-hmm.
She almost caused a war.
She panders to the right, big time. Like with her, she did that whole anti-vax thing in Alberta where you don't necessarily have to get vaccines now, even though nobody made anybody get the COVID vaccine. But it's somehow in her policies that when she did the anti-trans policies, that was slipped in, that you don't have to get vaccines. And I had one right winger that I was talking to, and I'm like, what if you had a premature baby, and they were being taken care of in the IC in the NICU, and the nurse didn't have her polio vaccine, and she just visited a country where polio, like India, let's say, where polio still exists. Would you feel okay with that nurse working? He never answered me. Like, he'd been debating me, and then he just dead stopped. Didn't answer anything. And I'm like, you got to really think about this. You know, like there are reasons for vaccines. And there are some people that absolutely can't get them, and they shouldn't. You know, if they've got allergies or what have you, that's different. But if you're able to get them, you should. Because we're protecting the people that can't protect themselves.
Jenna, respectfully, I don't think that she really cares about Alberta.
Oh, she
doesn't.
She really cares about Canada. And a $150,000 trip to Mar-a-Lago.
We had to pay for that.
Threatening to take us over as Canada as a 51st state shows how treasonous she really is.
Absolutely. But I'm getting a lot of flack for my petition. I stand by it, and I'm going to keep on doing it because I just don't.
What are the numbers now?
You guys were talking about comments. Like some of my comments that I get in my restricted folder or whatever, like they're terrible. I release them sometimes just so I can comment them, but they're so bad even TikTok doesn't take them. Like they just don't go through. So it's it's unbelievable the things people will say. They take it so personally. It's like it's not about you. It's about Danielle Smith. Yep. Like, and people can't even answer why they love her so much. Like I asked that question over and over.
But this is the
copy and paste it.
Oh, go ahead.
I can tell you why they love her.
Hold on. I want to finish it. Let Jana finish speaking.
Sorry.
And then Kingston, and then I'll go.
Yeah, I was just saying that people, like I have a copy and paste. I just copy and paste the same thing when people say, why? Danielle Smith is awesome. And it's basically, tell me why. Like, name policies. What has she done for the average Albertan? And most people can't even answer. Like, they either just don't answer at all, or they answer something about not mutilating kids. You know, because they don't know that surgery never happened before 18, ever, in Canada. Like, she made a policy to restrict something that never happened. It's ridiculous. But that was just 2 cents.
Guys, just a little bit of housekeeping. Can everybody mute there? We're getting a lot of background noise. It sounds like water. So can everybody mute when they're not speaking, please?
Makes sense.
Kingston, you wanted to talk next. Go for it.
I just wanted to say my feeling of listening to her time after time, and these benighted people who have no idea why they support her. She has created a cult, or at least she's creating a cult very similar to what Trump has done. They follow her regardless, and she loves it, I guess I can say. So it's become a cult. They cannot say why they love her, but they love her.
I agree, because I've never gotten a really good response from anybody. Like they tend to go for the trans thing. And then I explain to them as gently as I can again, less than 1% of the population is trans, and less than 0.004% regret their decision to transition. That is an extremely, or is it 0.4? But it's an extremely small amount. And they usually retransition back because of social pressure, not because of how they actually feel, but because like maybe parents or friends or spouses are pressuring them to go back on it. I spent a lot of time with Lainey from Defense Trans just talking about this so I could have the information to debate this, because it comes up again and again and again and again. And they're so afraid of bathrooms. Like, what is the obsession? Women's bathrooms have stalls, for God's sake. We're not peeking in on each other.
And if you are, that's weird.
Exactly. Like, get over it. Like, I'm a woman. I've been in washrooms, I'm sure, with people that are trans and never even noticed. Like, it's a bathroom.
And what you said, Jana, is absolutely freaking correct, because doctors have to go by WPATH. They can't not go by WPATH. They have to, right? So with that being said, the only issue I have is if you are a woman in a woman's bathroom and you leak some fluid onto the toilet because of the time of the month, clean it up and wash your fucking hands. That's literally all I care about is if you're washing your hands and making sure the toilet seat is clean for the next person that needs to use it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, exactly. Like I'm not worried about trans people in my bathroom. And the thing about tampons in men's bathrooms, first of all, I have two boys. They've never seen tampons in a men's bathroom. And if they are there, who cares? What are you, allergic to cotton? Like, why are you freaking out over a few tampons? Like, like what's the
because they've been programmed now for years to just have a blanket belief and to repeat it over and over and over again and never think about it rationally.
Exactly. They're like little robots. They spew the same lines over and over again. And then they get frustrated when it doesn't go, when I don't just cave, or when I have decent answers for them and they're confused. And it's just, so frustrating. And I feel so bad for the trans community because they're just being targeted so heavy,
Let's face it, Alberta's been playing the long game for a very long time. And this all started when they were doing charter schools, home schools. These kids have been brought up in that sauce. Whether we like it or not, they've been targeted, and it's kind of terrifying. Like, it should be considered abuse, what they've been through. It's just amazing. I was in education for 20 years in Alberta, and in that 20 years, first off, I met one student that I can honestly and truly tell you is trans. Their parents asked for that student's name to be called. It was it was the name on their birth certificate. And the only thing we were asked to do is just address that student by their name. That was, and that student did really flippin' well.
That's good.
So to hear people talk about this big issue, to me, it's a non-existent issue. One student in 20 years talked to me about this.
Exactly. They turn it into something it's not. But these are the same people that think they're litter boxes in bathrooms too, because of the people that identify as cats. So how do you get through to that? Like, it's just, they make shit up. They just make shit up.
Yeah, it's honestly frustrating because this is a battle that if we don't win, we're in massive trouble. And I don't know how to do it. I feel like 30 to 40% of the population has been completely brainwashed. And it's something that's been going on for over a decade, way over a decade. And now we're at this point where we're trying to turn it around quickly so that we don't descend into full authoritarianism. And how do we do that when you've had somebody that's been programmed for over a decade? You can't. There's no way to do it. So what's your strategy?
We're going to have to get radical. I lived in Alberta for a long time, and one of the things I was thinking about during COVID was, maybe we do all need to lock down in our houses. I don't know who has a feedback noise, but it's terrible.
I'll mute myself, see if it's me.
Maybe we all lock down and we refuse to work for that government. And that sounds to me like, I know there's going to be people that are going to go, how can they eat? What about the homeless? What are we going to do? Well, we all freaking figured it out during COVID when we couldn't get food, didn't we? We had food ninjas in Calgary. We were all bringing food to each other, taking care of each other. We were all going that extra effort. So, I honestly think, like these actions that people are taking across the world, I think they need to be stronger. I don't think this is any more about, and not only do we have to be stronger, but we have to be more careful than ever, because we're going to get those drones that Stephen Harper had coming after us. So when I talk about locking down, I talk about locking down in our homes and refusing to work. If that's how we're going to hit them, is monetarily.
Yeah, and what I wanted to point out is that when we look at the science of revolutions, it takes 3.5% of a population to take strategic action for it to become a full revolution. So The problem is, though, is that there's not even 3.5% of us, because this is in some way taking action, having these conversations, making them public, getting people to listen. But we got to do more than that. We got to get 3.5%, like you said, to go on some general strike, right? To campaign as a general strike where we just stop buying anything. We stop putting any of our time, effort, or money into the system. But how do we get that 3.5% to actually mobilize? Because people are genuinely scared of mobilizing right now. They're either scared or they're completely apathetic because they just do not want to believe that it's as bad as it is, right? They're like, no, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. If I just ignore it, everything's going to be fine.
Right, but we got a front row seat
not
to
going to
the
be fine.
United States. And
sorry,
if we have a front row seat to the United States, then you have to be as desperate as I do to not want to go through that. And I'll go without a few things for a little while to make that happen. But I do want to get Canadians aware of Stephen Harper and his Oz program that he has running out of Toronto with those drones. And they practiced taking young children out in Palestine. So we have to be careful about protesting. We've got to be smart. We can't be dumb. We have to be really smart. We have to plan and make sure that we're all taken care of, but showing, again, strength. So if we lock down in our homes and we refuse to work for a couple of days, that's really, really, really going to affect the bottom line of these politicians.
Yeah, but we also have to be able to show them that we're not scared, even if that means that some of us might be, maybe even risking our lives at one point. But we have to go out and have our voices be heard before it's too late. We still have a chance right now. We're not under full authoritarianism, especially in Canada, right? Even in the States, people are protesting. We're just not hearing about it because they're being censored. But I see bits and pieces of it. I know it's happening. So we're at a point where we need to do whatever we can do. We got to organize, like Germany organized so well. After Musk showed up at the AFD rally and told German people to forget about their history, they rallied big time. The streets were just filled with humans, right? And we haven't done that here yet. So we need to figure that one out too. I feel like a lot of the times that I've gone to protests in Canada, they haven't really been that big. I think some of the biggest protests we've seen lately are just the pro-Palestinian protests, and then we had the Freedom Convoy, but it wasn't really a protest. It was more of an occupation, but still, those were like the biggest ones that I've seen recently. Where are people that are standing together against fascism right now in Canada? I think it's that a lot of Canadians just don't get it yet. They just don't. They haven't been affected by it yet, and they don't get it yet.
We've got to spread that amongst this group here. And if you let me know, because I know that regular media censors this stuff. Sorry. So if you get the word out there, because I watch your videos, then I will repeat your message on my channel, and people that watch me will do the same, and everyone here, if we could do the same, I think that'll be a start, at least.
I think I've heard about cute winter boots on January 15th. Has anybody else heard that?
Yeah,
of course.
I just want to interject this here quick. One of the things that we can do to help our American partners is relay that information that is getting out on TikTok and make sure that we're talking about it and we're spreading that particular bit of info to the public, because if they can't get it out, we certainly can to help them out. And myself, I have definitely noticed that there has been a real clampdown on any of these political protests. But what I'm worried about is if everybody gets out on the street, I still think the ultimate plan for the Trump administration is to mark up and start martial law. So the more that we're flooding the streets, the more opportunity we give that administration to lay that technical ground and give themselves the authority that right now they don't have. But if they enact any emergencies measure, at that point, instantaneously, they have full control of the government.
Sadly, that the U.S. government, at least now it does with under Trump, thinks that they can deploy American troops on their own soil. That's actually illegal, but he's going to try and change that. Mark my words.
Yep. But I do have to say that, like, you know, I watch a lot of veterans and I listen to a lot of American veterans, and I can tell you right now, half of them are very much against him. And they know and have a lot of connections to the military, and half the military is not pro this administration. There will be an infight within the military about who's going to actually enact his laws and who isn't.
And
I could actually see there being a huge drop in military membership once he tries to send troops into allied countries. Like, you got to ask yourself, do you really think the American population is going to start marching onto Greenland and start killing innocent civilians or start throwing them into detention centers because of something Donald Trump wants to do? I honestly don't think this is going to happen, right? Not to mention, you're going to have a mass exodus of soldiers that are going to be kicked out of the military once he starts bringing back this Don't Say the Gay bill, which he already said he's going to do, right? So the American military isn't going to be anywhere near as strong as what it once was, right? You're going to see a mass exodus within the next year, and it's, you know, like, it's going to happen.
I hope not. I hope that those people don't leave the military, because we need civil, calm-minded, right-thinking individuals there so that the children in uniform don't break their toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but here's the thing, Christine. Oh, sorry.
And as someone who used to serve, and here in Canada, I worked with the States on exercises in other places as well. They have the same rule we have. You cannot give a soldier an unlawful command. Like, I would have the right as a sergeant to say no to someone above me if it meant that I was putting people in danger, if it was not a lawful command. And we have to kind of reiterate that and remind people of the lower ranks in the States, because I don't think they get that. You can say no.
I mean, I think that, what I know from the plan is that they're just going to fire anybody who says no. They're going to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And if we look at a place like Russia, when we looked at the Russian oligarchy takeover back in 2000, a lot of them, any opposition in the military or politically was either paid to be silenced, fully unalived by the Russian mafia,
pushed out a window,
or paid off to become a loyalist.
Right. But here's the thing. Christine, I understand that you served, and I thank you for your service. But when it comes down to Trump and his delusions of having a following of armies, yeah, no, we're not okay with that. We're not. We're not okay with the fact of him dismantling his military to fit his fucking narrative. It's not going to happen. It's not legal. It's not binding. And he'd have to spend 4 years of his term trying to make an executive order to fire those people. So good luck with that, because it's not going to fucking happen.
People have already been fired, though. Hundreds of people have already been fired. And at the end of the day, he owns a Department of Justice.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah. Go ahead, Christine.
Sorry I keep cutting in, but for the last 20, 30 years, they have been strategically, especially evangelical, promoting certain people to positions so that they could have a more right-leaning military. But we have to keep reinforcing and getting the message out there that if it's an unlawful command, don't follow it. Don't leave so the children are left behind to break toys. Stay there. You said that you were there to protect all Americans. Don't give up. We stand behind you as well. We know that there are good people serving. Sorry. That's it.
I just want to say that we have to get it out of our head, this idea that there are legal safeguards to keep him from doing what he's doing. The hallmark of every single dictatorship is dismantling every possible avenue of attack against the administration. And Project 2025, while it certainly covered a lot of ground, one of the main things it covered is how to keep this in power once these projects begin to take effect, because they know the public backlash is going to be there. They know the democratic backlash is going to be there. But within 2 months here, there's not going to be a damn thing that they can do about it.
Oh, exactly.
Grandma Sandy?
Grandma Sandy.
Hi, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with what everybody is saying.
I'm staying here.
And I hope I don't disrupt the conversation by trying to bring it back to Canada. But earlier in the comments, I had brought up in the comments that I received my Elections Ontario
I just want to sit here. I'm probably going to be reading or
provincial
watching TV and
thing in the mail today. And it says, mark your X on or before February 27. I seen a comment saying February 17, but what I have in the mail says February 27. And I hate to bring it back to Canada, but I think before we can be true allies to the American people, we have to figure out what we're doing here. And the more conservative premiers we get out of provinces, in the end, I feel are going to help us.
Mm-hmm.
Just my opinion.
Right.
I think Doug Ford, which is our next election, we have to try really, really hard to vote him out.
I agree.
Yep.
One way I do that?
Okay.
Sorry.
I just want to say something to someone in the comments. No, not alien, not an alien. Trudeau is the one that put us and brought us together. The tariffs were not even a threat until Biden and okay, so the tariffs were already dealt with through Biden and Trudeau administration. That was what they did that. Okay? Trudeau is the reason that we are uniting. The premiers are the reason we are uniting. Everything like that is the reason. It has nothing to do with Trump or the Trump administration. So please check your privilege at the door and stop giving credit where credit is not due. It is in due to Canadian politicians, the Prime Minister, the premiers that followed suit. It is not Trump or anything like that. Please don't give that man credit on our country. Thank you.
And to anyone who thinks they want to put their province first, remember, without a Canada, you don't have a province. Okay?
I'm not trying to put my province first.
No one said that.
I'm just thinking along the lines of the more conservatives we get out, the better position we'll be in federally.
I agree with you.
Exactly.
I wasn't commenting on what you said. I'm more sort of, central Canada and how they're supporting those that are supporting Smith are being delusional when they think that they just have to worry about her and that province. Because if you don't support Canada, including your provinces, as a whole, your province will go if Canada goes. That's who I'm talking about. I agree with you. And the only reason I tell people, the only reason Ford is holding this election, which is costing us more money than it needs to because it was scheduled later on, is that he's trying to ride the wave of him looking tough when he said to Trump that, oh, we're going to turn your electricity off. That's all he's doing, guys.
Okay, I agree with what you're saying. But I think spending the money now is going to save us money in the future, because Doug Ford isn't helping our education system, our health system. He's flip-flopping all over the place. One day he says Starlight, then 5 hours later he's not. He's saying he's signing a contract, and I think the money we've already lost in Ontario due to his Greenland, his roads, his tunnels, his Ontario Spa, all this stuff that has cost us money instead of going into actual or what Ontarians need. In my mind, okay, I'm old. In my mind, take one down at a time.
You and I
just
both
keep
know
taking
that.
them down until we're at the place we need to be. And if it starts with premiers or MPs or whatever it starts with to get us back to where we need to be, that's the route we got to go.
I think you're misunderstanding me. I'm not disagreeing with you. But what I'm saying is that I know, you know, we both know what he's done wrong and how flip-floppy he is. I totally understand that. I'm saying that there are enough people out there that he's depending on that don't have a clue, and that he's trying to ride this small popularity wave that he's got going because he thought he looked tough enough that he will get voted back in. That's my issue.
Okay, so I'm sorry I misunderstood.
That's okay.
Hey guys, I gotta
so
jump in.
important to me that he doesn't get back in.
Hey guys, I gotta jump in for just a little bit of housekeeping notes here. Just before 7 o'clock, we sharing is caring, tapping is clapping. Thanks everybody for joining Beaver Politics. We are looking for one more host. We are hoping to get somebody under 30 to talk to the younger generation and open up that conversation with younger people. So if you are under 30 and you are interested in being a host, you can contact one of our hosts here at Beaver Politics, especially Nerdy, myself, or Mrs. Radical, or the Mrs., and hopefully we can find somebody to fill one more spot for us. But we wanted to just especially send an absolute thank you to all of our viewers on Beaver Politics. We are expanding at a rate that we never ever expected, and we have all of our viewers, all of our hosts, and all of our guests to thank for it.
I could do it, but I'm not under 30, so there's that.
If you absolutely cannot find someone, I want to guarantee.
Sorry, I'm going to say just quickly after Christy. Let's let Anthony talk after Christy. Anthony?
Oh, I'm up. Okay, I wasn't sure if she was done. Okay, thank you for letting me up. I'm in Ontario, and I've been involved in politics most of my life from the sidelines, and I've observed some things that are happening here. I came across, while scrolling through this app, I came across a robotics page. They were talking about constructing Elon's robots. I guess they work in the factory, whatever it was. And they were having these discussions about their orders. And the one guy was going, well, we've got 10 million of these going to Ontario this year and 100 million going to the States. And I was like, what? And they were talking about Elon just made an announcement at the economic convention a week ago stating that he's building 10 to 20 billion of these things. And they are going to replace 90% of the jobs that humans do. And he says the government is going to have to put people on a UBI. So I started doing more research and looking into this thing about sending them to Ontario. And I thought to myself, Doug Ford with the Greenbelt the first year, he was all, yeah, I'm going to protect it. This is great. And then he went behind our backs and tried to sell it out from us the second time around. He did the same thing with long-term care homes. He said he was going to protect them, no expense spared. And then he went and did nothing, and people died. So I thought to myself, could he really be doing this? Could he be having this election to be giving Elon, Elon says he's going to do this in the next 5 years. So he needs a commitment from Doug Ford now, not a year and a half from now when he's having an election. So I put all the videos together onto my Facebook page, Anthony Carlo. I linked everything, like you can go and look at the clips yourself and draw your own conclusion. but everything's there. The robots that they're going to use, the comments from Doug Ford, the comments from Elon, they're all there. Please just listen to it and draw your conclusions. Maybe we can come back here on the next Beaver Politics and talk about it.
I was going to say, I'm going to fully believe Anthony on that, because that's literally what my research points to as well. And like I was talking about earlier with the very dystopian future and how the tech bros are trying to basically take land and create their cities that are going to have mass surveillance and robots and stuff like that. That's crazy that he brought that up. But yeah, go look it up, guys. Smarshy?
I just want to say something before, because this is really aggravating. Someone in the comments said that pipelines are going to be managed and taken care of. No, pipelines do not get managed properly, and that's where the oil spills come into. That's where it leaks into our ecosystem. That's what damages everything around us. So please do more research when you're talking about drilling and pipelines. You really have to do your research, because there was a pipeline in northern Alberta that just exploded because they did not do what they needed to do. We don't need to build our economy off of oil. We need to get away from oil. Do you know what oh god, that word I can't remember. It's not an infinite number of oil. We don't have an unlimited supply of oil. But you guys seem to think we have an insurmountable of oil, and we don't. We need to get away and go green.
Peak oil.
Thank you. It needs to stop. It's finite. It's not infinite. It's finite. There's a number of oil. Oh my god. I'm not supporting Elon. Oh.
Explain peak oil to them.
Me? Oh, I don't have the time or the patience with this, because it's just.
Brief summary
I could
of
do it quick.
Yeah. Brief summary of peak oil is it's the maximum amount of oil that we can produce in comparison to our usage. So right now we are actually producing more than we are using. And this theory that Trump's got about drill, the oil companies have already pushed back, going, we are basically at maximum capacity as is.
Oh, I just learned something, because I thought peak. I guess I'm thinking of a different word. Because what the previous lady was saying, we only have a finite amount oil, guys. There's no I can't pronounce words. Infinity oil under the crust of the surface of the world. Only so many plants and animals died so far back that they became oil now. We will run out of it. And it is estimated by our top scientists that we've already used half of that. And that's only in the last 100 years. So if we used half of what we have in 100 years, and that's including times when we only had Model T Fords, and we're using exponential amount of oil now, it's going to run out real quick.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to put out there, yes, peak oil, that part of that equation is certainly the maximum amount that we have storable and we have recoverable. Not all of the oil fields have been found, and one of the things that we got to realize is that Saudi Arabia can still just open up the taps and flood the market. They still have that capability. But at the end of the day, one of the things that we seem to not be glancing, as much as we bash on China about what they're doing with coal and so on, they actually spend more than North America combined and tripled on green energy. So they are well aware, the Chinese themselves, which direction they need to go. And they're already way in advance of us in achieving that goal of going green.
You guys hear about strides China's made with nuclear fusion energy in the last 6 months?
Absolutely, yep.
Yes.
That's a game changer.
Like, apparently they created an artificial sun which ran for 18 minutes, which is an unbelievable feat if you really read into it.
It
I honestly
absolutely
Until it
think
is.
it's
blows
only
up.
going to be another 10 years before China just completely takes over the energy industry to begin with.
That's
Whether like
absolutely,
countries
yeah.
are producing max amounts of oil or not. Like you got countries like China that are saying, like why are we focusing so much energy on oil when we could actually develop better forms of green energy, right? Like they are
Right.
decades ahead of us, and it just goes to show.
Right. And the thing is, that's what I'm worried about is the freaking ecosystem. These people don't understand the ecosystem is at effect every time you put a pipeline in. It affects the ecosystem. Now, I'm not saying I'm not for green energy. I'm all for that if it works properly and if it does not affect our ecosystem. I don't want pipelines put in the ground. You're hurting the earth more than you're doing good. And like I said, we don't have an infinite amount of oil. Oil will run out. And if they put the AI farm in, like Danielle Smith wants to do, there goes all of Alberta's water. Then what are we gonna do when no one has water to drink or anything like that because the AI farm took too much of it? I've said what I've said. I'm not a fan of Elon. I think electric cars are useless. I think they're useless because they just keep blowing up. Let's be honest. If you can't get a car to
Especially,
work that's less than 60,000, and I will never drive a swastika car. I'm sorry. I said what I said and I
especially in the
stand on it.
States, because you have such an old infrastructure, because you need electrical wires to go to homes and factories and businesses. And now, if everyone had an electrical car, those systems are so old, they'll either break, overload, or won't even meet the demand. And because the government is not putting money, the American government is not putting money into bringing it up to code and replacing old parts of their grid system, they can't even handle electric cars in reality. So they
Do
got
you
to
know
work on
how
that.
do you know how dangerous electric cars are with the lithium batteries that they have?
I
That is
don't
a
understand how people think electric cars are any more environmentally friendly than gas powered cars when the vast majority of the minerals that come from electric cars come from places like the Democratic Republic of Congo where they use slave labor to get it to begin with, right? Like, I don't
exactly.
understand how that's more environmentally friendly. It
It's
doesn't make sense to
not.
me.
It's
Okay.
not a good
Does
time
anybody?
I,
watching. It's not a good time driving those vehicles around right now.
yeah.
I have a friend that just bought one, and she's getting the bird all every day. She's driving down the highway, and people are giving her the bird, throwing their coffees out at her vehicle, and she left it at the charging station, and it got um, she got locked out of it, and she couldn't get the code for it, so she had to have it towed from a small town in BC to Alberta, and that cost $3,000. The whole car to kind of fix cost $10,000.
Didn't she have to get a new phone?
She doesn't have all the codes that you need for it. It's not the newest generation, I guess, but it's cost her a lot of money. Like that, I mean, I just can't believe people would buy into that.
Well, there are people that do have them, and they're actually I've driven in one of them, and it's really beautiful and nice. But you got to charge it every single day, right? You got to make sure it's charged, and you may have to make sure that it doesn't run out of battery. But I'm not going to say anything negative about that because we have to advance. One way or another, we're going to have to
I'm
advance.
I'm all about advancing.
I
She left
I
it
think
all the
I
law.
don't
Can
think
I?
Canada's ready for electrical cars yet. We have too many rural areas that don't have stations to charge up and sorry.
No, I was going to say though, it is a transition, right? Like people in rural areas are going to be driving gas cars, while people in cities have more access to electric cars. We can't just say like, oh, Canada's not ready because some people won't. We don't have to transition everybody over to that. But if a
True.
lot of people do transition, that's still less gas. And with the whole like lithium batteries, yes, they're bad, but there is new technologies coming out right now for way more environmentally friendly batteries, and China is leading that game right now. I'm pretty sure they've already come up with an electric battery that is way more environmentally friendly. Of course, it's not being mass produced yet, but we have that technology now. So we definitely have to move away from lithium batteries to these new type of batteries, but it will come. It will come if if we get the right people elected.
That was definitely a bad choice of words on my part. I just happen to live in a rural area, and there's not one charging station anywhere.
Well, can I?
That has to do more with your provincial government than it does anything else. I know.
Well, I'm in Ontario, so
yeah, I know BC has just invested in expanding the charging stations across the province. But then we have an NDP government that's committed to transitioning to cleaner energy sources and is on board to fight climate change, because BC, out of all the other than the eastern provinces, I would say BC is the province that has suffered the most from climate change.
Can I say something on that?
Mm-hmm.
If we actually had a healthy infrastructure, you can charge, because my friend in the UK drives for a living. He's a private chauffeur. He charges his car at home. In fact, sometimes his car charges his house. So, take the time, get the right technology, and it won't matter where you live. In fact, that's the way to go. And I'm almost done, Radical.
Yep.
I'm going to make a radical statement here, and I might not get a lot of love for this, but have we thought about nuclear energy done right?
Well, yeah, that's what nuclear fusion is aiming to do, for the most part.
Yeah,
Create an
exactly.
artificial sun that could basically harness and give free energy to the entire planet.
Yeah.
Which is, it's probably 10 years away, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I want to throw this out there for the panel to think about. So we found out in the last couple of years that the climate data that the oil companies had in the 70s pretty much exactly matched the climate data that the green, all of the green and the rest of the scientific community was producing. So ever since the late 70s, the oil companies have known what the effects of their products long term are going to be. And instead of changing and opening up green technologies, because why would they on a financial basis when you're already making money as is? So in the last 40 years, they have had an active and ongoing campaign of suppression of green technologies. So for everybody that is against green technologies and green cars in particular, I have to ask the question that if we had not had 40 years of suppression of that technology, where would we currently be?
Just like cigarettes?
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely. And actually, I know a lot of people on the panel here follow Mr. Global. And if you don't, he's a really amazing follow. Like, the guy is an oil and gas... Mr. Global, he's an oil and gas expert. That's what he does. That's his business. That's his shtick. And he's nonpartisan. So he just delivers the facts about oil and gas. And he has said that oil companies go where the money is. And oil companies are all developing green energy initiatives now because they can see the writing on the wall, and they understand that that we need to move away from fossil fuels. Not 100%. Fossil fuels will never disappear. I think that's the thing that people are all or nothing, right? It's not black and white. We're always going to need some of those resources until we find better technology. But the point is by refusing to actually even explore new technology, we're going to be behind, because oil and gas companies have been investing in new technology going forward because they can see where the profits are going to be.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that crude oil or oil is also used in plastics, which affects our medical industries, when it comes to cleanliness and sterilization. It takes like 6 liters, I think, of oil just to make one tire. But like Radical was saying, it wouldn't have been nice if they had not have acted like cigarette companies and suppressed it for so many decades. We would have been so much further. But I also agree with you. They are doing it now only because it's financially important to them. And it's sad that's how mega companies work. That's why Americans going down the street is going now. It's because corporations have to have a profit every quarter bigger than the one before it. And that's sad. And it's destroying the lives of regular people.
Well, we're in, like Mark Carney says, we're in two industrial revolutions right now. We're in a tech revolution and we're in a green energy revolution. And if we don't get on board with those two things, we're going to be left in the dust. We're going to be left in the dust. And it doesn't mean that we just turn off the tap to oil tomorrow, because as Christine said, we still will need oil and gas for some things. But if we can reduce our consumption of it, at least try to reduce our consumption of it, isn't that a win? Like, I don't understand this all or nothing thing, right? I don't understand this all or nothing mentality.
I just want to throw this in there. I want to answer one thing that was in the comments here about lithium batteries. Now, I spent almost 12 years in the Alberta oil patch, and I'm not sure that people understand just how much fresh water it takes to drill a horizontal well, never mind to frack a horizontal well. We are talking that water truck is running at that rig 24/7. So while yes, there are absolutely concerns with lithium and its mining and production, to say that the oil and gas companies have any sort of moral, ethical, or environmental advantage in drilling is just not the case.
I agree with Mr. Radical. Sorry. I was concerned about lithium, and I mean, I'm not going to say I'm an expert. By no means am I an expert on this. But when I listen to lithium versus gas and oil and this and that, I don't know what the right answer is. Also, maybe I'm old and I don't understand, but our hydro prices are going up to an exorbitant amount.
I think the answer is,
doesn't it cost us to exorbitant amounts to charge our cars? I'm okay.
If we go and we do the research and we do slow and steady progress, we can eliminate these problems, right? And it's not an all or nothing, but it's a progression so that we can get as close as we can to all. But like was said before, it's not going to be everything, but let's get as close to that as we can. Has anyone noticed all the commercials lately about oil companies?
Oh yeah, I was watching Amazon Prime. Was it Amazon Prime? I was watching Matlock on Amazon Prime last night, and it was like every 5 to 10 minutes there was a break for Cenovus oil and gas. Talking about how Canada oil, how important oil and gas is to Canada and Canada's economy, and what would happen if the lights turned out tomorrow, and how would it hurt Canadians if there was no oil and gas tomorrow. Like, it's really like it's propaganda. It's oil and gas propaganda, 100%, 110%.
I agree with you. I was like, this is fear mongering, and it's scare tactics. And it's like, oh, like the lights will go out tomorrow. You can't do anything but, what we say, and we're the right answer. Yeah. It's like, don't BS a BSer.
So Hosung,
I'm afraid others will believe it.
Sorry. Hosung in the comments here says, Alberta's oil is the only thing keeping Canada afloat right now. No, it's not. Alberta's oil is not Like the GDP, the
Three and
Alberta's
a half
oil.
percent.
What is it, Radical?
3.5%
Yeah.
is what oil and gas adds to our GDP.
Yeah.
So that's just an out and out. It's out and out fabrication and fear
Yeah.
mongering.
Yeah, absolutely. And it actually only accounts for Alberta 16% of Alberta's GDP. I think I looked that up before.
Propaganda. It's still more propaganda.
Yeah.
It's going to make you. They're lying to you.
Yeah.
Do the research. Listen to the actual experts that are not biased.
Yeah.
Because the people telling you these things are biased.
Well,
they
no.
have the bestest interest in making sure they can continue to make billions.
Alberta oil is keeping Alberta's lights on, but not that profitable. Yeah, exactly. Pumpkin spice latte. Exactly. In fact, we discount our oil by $15 and what is it, Radical? $15.40 a barrel, $15.60 a barrel to the US.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up myself, but it's discounted somewhere below 20%. But I mean, even at what I find ridiculous is this entire talk recently about expanding our gas and keeping our oil and gas here in Canada. And I keep posing to people, so it's a national energy program that you want. But as soon as I say national energy program, anybody 40 and over loses their goddamn minds because all they saw was the oil patch shutting down for a couple of years without understanding the long-term implications of where we are today.
Yeah.
The Netherlands and Denmark have oil and gas off of their shores, and those countries are swimming in money.
Yes.
But don't say national energy program, but that is exactly what people are pining for right now.
Yeah, well, and what's really ironic here is it's the conservatives that are screaming about this, but they were the ones that shut it all down.
Yep.
They shut it all down, and you know, I'm gobsmacked, right? Like they had T-shirts. It was like let the East freeze, right? Like they put up. It was a full campaign. People were talking about it in my comment section today about this whole campaign Alberta did against the National Energy Project, and Brian Mulroney signed free trade, the NAFTA agreement with Ronald Reagan, agreeing to discount Canadian oil by over $15 a barrel in order to have it refined, shipped down to the U.S., refined in the U.S., and then shipped back up here for sale.
Yep.
Rather than build the infrastructure, rather than build our own infrastructure in the country.
And Albertans are being lied to by Smith and being told that, you know, without the oil industry, your province will crumble.
Yeah.
Well, even if that were true, which it is not, wouldn't it be up to your premier to have diversified your economy by now? Maybe you should ask her those questions and not complain and yell at other people for asking them.
Well, you know what? And that's something that I really appreciate about our premier here in BC. Frontline Feminist and I both have the same premier. And that's something I really appreciate about Premier Eby is that he has been, our governments, actually all of our governments in BC, both sides of the aisle, have been working consistently to diversify BC's economy. And he's taking these next 30 days to even drill down even farther and see what else he can create how else he can create new trading partners, how he can divest of the trading relationship. Yeah, there's Pixie. Hi, Pixie. And they're looking for ways to diversify our trading partners even more and diversify our economy even more in BC to make it strong, right? So it's not reliant on just one industry.
I would like to say when I was living in Manitoba, I was there when Wab Kinew got voted in. And I'm telling you, without a word of a lie, I'm telling you, within a couple weeks, the whole vibe changed.
Yes. Yeah.
He was doing everything. Like we've seen immediate results. I also lived in Vancouver for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, nice.
I seen the great work that the NDP did there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that I'm fully sold on NDP for federal,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm starting to think with everything that's going on, the getting out more conservative premiers and putting in more NDP are to our benefit.
But you have
Because
to
right
remember.
now,
Sorry.
Ontario is suffering. We
Mm-hmm.
are suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid to switch,
Okay?
and I just
And
want to say something before I go after you.
Okay, Angela just had her hand up for a while.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
have to ask a question because you live in Vancouver.
Yep.
So I have a lot of families who are in this transition right now because the Ford comes in, they want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, for the most vulnerable people that I'm talking about people with disabilities,
Yeah.
what is your disability there, like as far as programs and stuff?
Well, we have a pharmacare, but it's means tested. We have a program for psych meds called Plan G, where the government covers all of your psych meds. We have free contraception, right? Free birth control in the province. I think we're going to be covering HRT therapy. They ran on that. I don't know if they've implemented that yet. They have the your BC disability covers things. We were talking about it today. The missus and I were talking about it earlier today, where they will do things. You can get all of your medications covered. They do things like if you're up in the north, they give you travel allowances to come down to see specialists. They will pay for somebody to escort you down. It's not perfect, and it's not by any means as robust as it should be. They did raise the monthly payment by, I think it was $200 a month, which was the biggest bump it had seen in like 15 years or something like that. Was it 15? I can't remember. Anyways, but there are supports, but Vancouver is hella expensive to live in still, as far as rent goes. And so a lot of people, unfortunately, when you go into the north, though, they don't have the services that people who are disabled need, because the rural areas aren't. Okay, I just got called for dinner. Sorry.
Oh, so what about the autism program? What kind of an autism program do you have?
Yeah, that's a bit of a. There's a bit of a. I'd have to go and look into that. I know that we don't have enough. I know we don't have enough specialists in the province right now, and they're working on that. I know that it takes a really long time to get autism assessment in the province for your kids. I think the wait list is like a year or more. But I think it's better than what Ontario has. I'd have to look into it for you, Angela. I'd have to look into it. But like I said, it is
after Christine,
expensive.
I'd like to get Sean on.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay,
Yeah,
I gotta
you can
go
send me a
anyways. So
message. You can send me a message.
Yeah.
Direct message.
yeah. So I gotta go, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for having me up.
Thanks,
Have a good night.
Christine.
Bye.
I gotta go, but I just like to say really quickly, thank you for having me on and inviting me up. That was awesome. I was shocked and pleased. And just so you know, Ontario has a thing called Trillium that you can apply for if you make under a certain amount in net. They pay for your meds. Also, guys, if we want to support each other, the best thing we can do is watch each other's videos all the way through, even if you put it on mute, guys, and hit all the buttons on the right. I love you all, guys. I can't wait to see more of your videos. I had a great time. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Can I say something about Ontario? Really
Do you need
quickly?
me for that?
No, whoever wants to listen. A lot of medications are not covered through OHIP, and they're not even covered through Trillium either. And Trillium is not that easy to get. It's not easy. So I pay for all my medications. I pay and medications, eye examination. I pay for everything out of my own pocket.
Wow.
So
That's
our
brutal.
healthcare system in Ontario is a mess.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. So we're at 7:30 almost.
Can we give Sean an opportunity to say something? He's
Yes,
been in the box
actually,
but didn't get an
Sean, go
opportunity.
ahead, please. Thanks for your patience.
Oh, no problem. You guys were having a good conversation. Not to just bring it back, I did want to just mention that China has a whole line of electric cars, and they have what they call battery changing stations. So you just roll your car in there, they change the battery out for a charged one, and it takes 3 minutes. So you're in and out within 3 minutes. So, anyways, we were talking about electric cars, so I just wanted to mention that about that.
Impressive.
And also, I was speaking with, I think, Pumpkin in the chat. Quebec doesn't have an NDPQ, but we do have the SQ, which I know is Quebec Solidaire. I know it's they have separation in their constitution or whatever it's called. Anyways, but I really don't think it's a big issue with them. Most of my NDP friends vote for SQ provincially, and most of their policies are on par with the NDP. They're probably who I'm going to support the next provincial election, because we need to get rid of our current premier, who's passing all these like fascist kind of laws against minorities in English.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I really had to say for about that, about those two things.
Thank you for sharing. I
So
think
we're at 7:31.
Sorry, I just muted Radical there because I could hear some clinking and.
He's probably crawling out of the war room.
Yeah, I think so. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. So we're at 7:30, and I think we're almost done for tonight.
Well,
what do we want to do?
I was just going to say thank you so much for allowing me to speak and have a voice. I really needed that today. I hope I came across with facts. That's not the proper terminology. I just hope I came across with some wisdom as to what Ontario's going through and where I would like Ontario or Canada to move to. I think we're concentrating too much right now on U.S. politics, even though it's important, and I agree 100%. But I think we have to put Canada first at the moment and then look back. We have to get more unified. We have to get talking in a more unified way is all I'm trying to say. Because we keep dipping back into American politics, which, like I said, are important, but it's not helping Canada at the moment, if that makes any sense. And I'm not putting any criticism on anybody, but I think right now, and maybe it's my age, I have absolutely no idea, but I just feel like Canada has to fight a lot harder than we're showing.
I think you articulated yourself quite well. Thank you very much. And you're right. We do have to be united. It's very important. Is there anyone else that has some final thoughts that they want to say?
Yes. As far as Ontario goes, right now you're not getting enough information about the advanced polls and stuff like that because of the mess that's happening right now. So there's more information that's going to be coming out soon. And call your campaign, your main campaign office, like for which party you're interested in voting for, and they can give you the information that you need. Because those X's that you received, that's just basic information. It's still we need to get more information out there. so that you know when exactly are those advance polls and everything. Till the 13th of February, there's still not enough information for all the candidates on everyone's riding. That's how bad it is.
Doug Ford's counting on that.
Yep,
Thank
that's what
you.
it is.
Thank you. Is there anyone else with final thoughts?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me in. It's always been greatly appreciated. And whenever you guys do decide to have this, feel more than free to just give me an invite. This is a
Awesome.
great way for me to express myself. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you on anytime.
Anyone else?
Sean, did you want to say anything? Last thoughts?
Not overly. I mean, I know that right now for me, like I've just been communicating with a lot of my LGBTQ friends in the States because they are very scared. So I think that as well as keeping up with our own politics and making sure that we don't go the same way, I think that we also need to lend a hand out to our American friends who are not on Trump's side, because they're going to be needing a lot more support now, especially since all their support is going to be either fired or removed from government forcibly. So, yeah.
I agree. We need to do whatever we can.
I wasn't able to find anything about it, but I heard Canada, we've opened up to get asylum seekers from the States. Has anyone heard about that?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
I've heard about it, but I don't want to say that it's official because I just saw it through a TikTok video, so I didn't actually get it confirmed, and I don't like to say anything's true until I read about it.
Yeah, because that's what I heard. I think I heard it from TikTok too, and I was trying to look for it, and I didn't see anything about it.
Pumpkin Spice says that she read about it.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's probably legit. They are going to need asylum.
Yeah, Pumpkin Spice, if you could send me the link, if you know where the link is, so I could just read up on it so we have more information, please.
Radical, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank all of our viewers for tuning in again. I just wanted to thank all of our guests for tuning in again. And I just wanted to say that everything that we are going through, that Miss Radical and I had some conversations about using the Radical moniker, and she wasn't really on board with it. But I understood that the things that I would present in this day and age, commitment and honor and respect and peace, are radical ideas now and then. So all I can say to everybody is stay radical.
Stay radical, my friend.
Mrs. Radical, should I let you close up? Put you on the big screen?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah, I was just going to give my last thoughts and then put you up on the big screen and let you kind of close it out.
Sounds good.
My only thoughts, I know Grandma Sandy said, we got to keep our attention to Canada, and that's really important, and I totally agree. But I do think it's important for Canadians to see what's happening south of the border so they can understand what's coming for us if we're not paying attention and if we don't realize that the Conservative Party works together with all the other Conservative parties in this global right-wing movement, because it is global. I know that America is on the big stage right now, but it is happening in other countries as well. There is an uprise of authoritarian governments. They are working together. And I just want to remind everybody, the Conservative Party leader is someone who Elon Musk suggested that we vote for. That's all I have to say. I'm going to let you close it out, Miss Radical.
And I don't think she's too far off. I think we've been challenged in Canada. Justin Trudeau, with his departure, gave us a gift. And the gift he gave us was proroguing government and giving us an opportunity to see what's happening right in front of our eyes and to make some very, very important decisions. And whether we like it or not, what's happening in the United States is happening here. So we have to kind of split ourselves and watch and pay attention very, very, very carefully, because this is our lives and this is our children's lives. This isn't a football game anymore. Shit just got real and it's happening fast. And people are going to be in a lot of trouble before they even know they're in a lot of trouble in the United States. There's very few people that are really tapped into how bad it is going to be there. But what's important is we keep breathing deeply and slowly in and out and keep that amygdala centered in our brain, because we can't access our flight and our flight if it's shaking. We can access our hippocampus to come up with ideas and strategies and go to the past to see what we can to fix things, right? So we need to breathe deep, think thoughtfully, and stay connected with each other. Stay connected, stay connected, stay connected. Check in with your neighbors, check in with your friends, check in with your families. Have conversations. And with that, thank you so much for all turning into Beaver Politics. Slap those beaver tails, show them what Canada's all about. We love you.
Do you wanna let people know real quick about what other shows are coming up?
Oh my goodness, there's so much to tell you guys about Beaver Politics. Holy, here we grew again. We've got so much going. So let me start with Monday night, Indigenous Matters. Tuesday night, Frontlines, bringing the news. Wednesday night, we've got the Mossy Side with the Moose, Progressive Moose. Thursday night, that's us. Friday night, we've got we've got debates with Nerdy. Polititalk, thank you. With Nerdy, and that's a debate stage. And Saturday nights, we've got Radical. We are also, I'm so excited to tell you guys about this. The Mrs. is back, and she's going to be on Thursday night.
Before this show.
What was the name of her show, though?
I don't have it off the top of my head right now.
You guys got to go check out Beaver Politics. So we've got the Mrs., and then we've got Pixie Lee coming on Friday afternoons. And I believe on Saturday we also have Jenna coming in the afternoons. So
yeah,
we're growing and we're moving and we're trying to fill a full lineup so that when, the idea is that if everybody likes Sesame Street, it doesn't matter what character, we're all tuning into Sesame Street. So for us, it's all about the Beavers. If you like the Beavers, we're here all around the clock bringing you content to you. We hope you join us.
By the way, it's called Navigation Station. Now I remembered. It's a Perry. Let us know down in the comments.
Thank you, Perry. Thank you so much. And we're looking for content creators to join us. So if you have a passion for Canada and Beavers, give us a shout. Anyone
awesome
else?
Nope, I think we're good. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.